Hey, what's up? This is Ian, and this is going to be how not to have a bad experience teaching abroad. I'm going to give you 11 things that you can keep in mind so that you don't have a bad experience. Number one, have an open mind. You want to have an open mind. So many things are going to be different. The language is going to be different. The culture is going to be different. The food's going to be different. The people are going to be different. They're going to look different. They're going to have different mannerisms, expectations. The environment's different. It's going to be different. You need to have an open mind. Because if you don't, you're not going to be happy because so many things are going to be different. Okay, number two, learn the language. Um, you really want to learn the language. Learning the language is going to be like make you feel more connected to the place. It's going to make you feel better about your experience. Like, you know, when you go back to your country after you teach abroad and someone asks you, did you learn the language? What do you want to say? No. And you're like, what? You lived there for 2, 3 years, you didn't learn the language? From my own personal experience, okay, I've taught English in China, Korea, and Taiwan, and I can tell you I was definitely more interested in Chinese and the culture and the language. So in Taiwan and in China, I applied myself. I mean, I could have applied myself even more than I did, but I definitely applied myself more than I did in Korea, where Korea was kind of comfortable, but I wasn't really that interested in the language. It's gonna make you feel happier because you can relate to the people that you're around with, talk to them, and whatnot. Number three, learn how to teach because you're going abroad. You're interested in teaching English abroad. Now, if we just focus on the abroad part, like that sounds appealing. It's like travel. Wow, that sounds exciting. Cool. Going to different countries, exploring, all that. But in actuality, you're going to be spending most of your time teaching English. You're going to probably be in a classroom teaching English. That's going to be where you're going to be spending most of your time. And if you don't know what you're doing, um, you're going to have a difficult time, and it's going to be stressful. And yeah, you're going to commit probably to a year. Most people have to sign a contract for a year. And yeah, it's not going to be fun. It's going to affect the whole experience. Even if you have a great lifestyle outside the class, you love the country, you're learning the language, you're making friends, you've got hobbies and stuff like that. All those things are great, but you're still going to go to work. And if you really hate your work, it's going to affect the overall feeling. So definitely apply yourself to learning how to teach. Um, I created a bunch of resources, a bunch of videos here you can get for free to get a lot of like training and ideas for your classes and whatnot. And I've also created some courses. These are like all they use a lot of videos, and so you can get the videos and stuff like that for free. But if you want to take a course, it's more streamlined. It's got other information in it that's not in the videos, and really focused more on teaching children and whatnot. So that's an idea. Okay, number four, expectations. Expectations. So I would say expect that it's not going to be a vacation. Expect that it's not going to be like home, and expect that no one's going to hold your hand. If you come into this thinking, okay, what's the one program? I see questions like this sometimes. Is there like a program that there's not really any one program that's going to take you from where you are now and do everything for you and get you abroad? You can't expect that. It's like finding a job in your own country, but more difficult because it's in another country. You got a visa, and you got all these other things you got to worry about, and it's in another country. So just have realistic expectations. Okay, number five, don't do it for the money. Okay. Now I know like some of you may, I got a ton of debt from college and stuff. I understand. Me too. But if you just get into it for the money, I think you're just like you're like in the rat race. You're not. You gotta have some sort of interest in what you're doing, or else you're not gonna be happy, right? You don't have a bad experience. You want to be happy. You want to enjoy it. It's going to be challenging either way, but if you're just in it for the money, you're chasing the carrot, and yeah, I don't think you're going to be very happy. Six, pick the right school, pick the right recruiter. Um, be careful who you trust. All right. Now, a recruiter is a middleman. You don't need a recruiter to find a job. You should not place all your trust with the recruiter. I think it's very healthy to be skeptical of recruiters Personally, me, never met a recruiter I like. Doesn't mean that all they're just the middleman, right? Now, other people have fine experiences with them. I think having a dose of just being a little skeptical doesn't hurt. And now, the school, okay? Basically, you need a job in a school, so you got to do your research. I had another video about like questions you can ask the school, so that this is going to help you get the right school. I'll link to that. I'm going to link in the description or somewhere else up here, over there, uh, to other resources that'll help you with that. All right. So get the right school. Careful with recruiters. Um, don't just blindly test. It's too much of a risk. You can do that. You can, like, some people. Some people have luck with that. You just, this is the first job. They go with the first job. They find everything works out. But a lot of times it doesn't. So do your research. All right, number 7. Don't do drugs, or don't get caught with drugs. Like, do a search. You can do a search on YouTube right now, like for the words "locked up abroad." Insert the country, whatever country you're thinking of going to. Any country, locked up abroad. Put that country's name and do a search. You'll probably find some videos about it. All right. Like, for example, in East Asia, pretty strict about drugs. Like, sure, it's okay to drink a lot in most of these places, although in the Middle East, probably not. But in East Asia, anyways, like, some things are acceptable. Like, smoking is acceptable, drinking is acceptable, but other drugs, like as far as like marijuana, all other kinds of drugs, you could get in big trouble for just even small amounts. Story is I think it's an American, got locked up in Korea for having a small amount of hashish and spent 4 years in jail. So, yeah, you don't want a bad experience teaching abroad, then yeah. Where are we? We're on number 8, all right? So number 8 is don't isolate yourself. Teaching abroad can be pretty lonely, to be honest. It can be pretty lonely because you're leaving behind everything that you're comfortable with now, all your friends, all your family. You're going abroad. You're going to a country where people don't speak the same language as you. Everything's different. Environment's different. People are different. Don't isolate yourself. I think there's 2 things that you got to do. Number 1, like I said earlier, learn the language. That's going to help you get connected to the people around you, the local connection or local people or whatever. And then number 2, you can find other foreigners and stuff doing things that you like to do. So if you're like I don't know, I'll tell you my thing. I think, like, for me, like, I'm mostly an introvert, and I would say that learning martial arts. I really love jiu-jitsu, judo. And for me, those things have been a great way to meet people. I can go anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the world, and learn those things and find a community of people doing that. So I get that social interaction. So that's one way you could find a sort of social interaction through martial arts. Many other ways. So whatever city you're in, I mean, you could do that through a language course. You could there's other, like, cities. I used to live in Busan, Korea. All kinds of groups for, like, scuba diving, sailing, people playing soccer, basketball. I used to play basketball with some people there. So you can find these things. You gotta really find a way to, like, reach out and make connections with other people, do things, fun things. So you can meet people in bars too. It's not really like I think a great, like, habit to shouldn't I don't think it should be your only interaction with people. It's just a bar and people are drunk and it is what it is. But maybe through the bar you can find people doing other things and connect with them later outside of that environment. So don't isolate yourself. And number 9, have a plan. As far as make a plan for after TEFL. I mean, you don't have to have it all written out. I'm not the kind of person that does that either. Like, I'm a little more spontaneous and just yeah, I don't know. But anyways, just like have some plan, have some goals, other goals besides TEFL. Most people do not stay teaching this abroad more than 1 or 2 years. Okay, so You might go a little longer, right? I did. So far, I've done 6 years, but um, have some other interests, other things you want to do, branch out, think about, you know, what you're doing, what your plans, what you want to do, that sort of thing. Number 10, so that's don't get stuck, right? Some people abroad, you get abroad and you notice maybe some teachers that have been there for a long time can kind of get bitter, resentful, not happy with what they're doing. Yeah, so you want to you know, branch out, get other things going on. And number 11, location. Focus on picking the right location, the right country, the right city, or small city, or even small town, or more rural area. Think about that a lot. Like, think about the language, what language you want to learn. Excuse me, and what sort of environment's going to be good for you. Are you like a big city person? If you're not really a big city person, then you're probably not going to abroad. You're probably not going to be one either. You know. So think about that, the language, the culture, the weather. Think about those things. The weather, what kind of weather you like, what don't you like, Keep all these things in your mind and whatnot. Anyways, those are 11 things that you can use to avoid having a bad experience teaching English abroad. Okay? Hope it helps. Thank you.
Yes, the best sell insider.